Yeah.
Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. You know, guys, really all you can do is just sit back, laugh, and enjoy the chaos. Because that's exactly what this college football season is. It's absolutely chaotic, and it makes absolutely no sense. The teams that were projected to win their conference, contend for their conference, maybe even contend for the college football playoff, are not. The teams that were projected to finish towards the bottom of their conference standings, maybe even just middle of the pack, are thriving. This has been an unreal season, and we're just 4 weeks into it. We have seen crazy upsets. We have seen crazy performances, and that didn't change in week 4. 6 ranked teams going down, a few more suffering wins, but scary close wins that shouldn't have been. And again, guys, this season just continues to make no sense, but we love every single bit of it, and I'm sure you guys are as well. So again, guys, welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. We're going to try to make sense of everything that happened in week 4 with this week 4 college football recap. As always, make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Check out everything down in the description below, especially going to sign up for those expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. We continue to post our picks out there every single Wednesday for both college and NFL, and yes, they are some of the best picks in the country. Yes, we went 500 this week. Yes, we are lightly above 500 4 weeks into the year, but I'm telling you, you go find any other analyst, any other site, and we're beating them out. 80% of the national analysts year in and year out, that's no exception now, and by season's end, we will be well above 55%. We can guarantee that. So make sure you go sign up for those today if you have not already. Again, the link down in the description below. So let's take a look at week 4, guys. Again, it was wild. It was wild. 6 ranked teams go down. We saw a few teams suffer some scares. They survived, but they got really, really scared. Could have been massive upsets. So we're going to start with numbers up here, go to the quick headlines, break down the big games, and then we'll wrap it up. So you look at our numbers up here. Week 4, straight up on the money line. Money line picks are thriving this year. 35-9 in week 4, 172-37. That's an 82.3% winning percentage in 2021 as of right now. And again, we have always hit 77% or better on those for each of the last 5 years. And that's not going to change now in 2021. So 172-37. Things are looking really good through about a third of the season. Against the spread this week, 5-5, 22-21 on the year, so 51.2%. Still above 500. Yes, we know the ultimate goal is to hit around 52%. The last 2 years, we've hit about 54, 55%, and we expect to hit that by season end as well. So got a long ways to go. Have yet to have a losing week, though. No losing weeks here at the Gridiron Expert, and again, not many other places can say that. So 5-5, 22-21. The numbers across the board only going to get better as the year goes on. So we take a look at our quick headlines going in to this recap, guys. Let's start with the Friday night game. Syracuse, the Orange, surprising a lot of people by taking down Liberty 24-21. Malik Willis for the Flames only threw 5 incompletions, had 205 passing yards and 3 touchdowns, but was not enough to win the game for Liberty, who crushed Syracuse last year, has now fallen to the Orange, who are 3-1. Slightly surprising so far this season. So watch out for the Orange, guys. Are they a big ACC threat? No, they're not. But they might be able to get to a bowl game. That's not something people thought they could do a couple months ago, and no one thought they'd beat Liberty a few months ago. How about Georgia, the second-ranked team in the country? They shut out Vanderbilt 62-0. Georgia scored 62 points. Vanderbilt had 77 yards. Georgia almost scored more points than Vanderbilt had yards in the game, and that is ridiculous. This Georgia team, guys, you can make the case for them to be the number 1 team in the country. I can't do that. Obviously, with Alabama still as number 1 until Alabama gives me a reason not to rank them first. But the first top 2 teams in the country are undisputed. It is Alabama. It is Georgia, number 1 and number 2. The Bulldogs, electric, guys. And yes, you can say it was just Vanderbilt, but I don't care who it was against. To score 62 points, shut out a conference opponent, and hold them to under 100 yards total on the day, that's insane. That's ridiculous. Big win for the Bulldogs. How about Bowling Green? Bowling Green, a 30.5-point underdog going on the road to take on Minnesota. 30.5-point underdog to take on Minnesota. Upsets the Golden Gophers 14-10. So PJ Fleck's boat, if you thought it was like teetering, it's done. It is sunk. It is gone. It's done for Minnesota. A week after shutting out Colorado 30-0, the Golden Gophers come back home, lose to Bowling Green One of the worst teams in the country, 14-10, 30.5-point favorite. That's unreal, guys. Huge win for the Falcons. PJ Fleck got a lot of explaining to do, a lot of work to do for his Golden Gophers team. Texas dropping 70 on Texas Tech. Casey Thompson was the answer. We said Casey Thompson should have been the starter since week 1. Everybody disagreed, said no, it should be Hudson Card. Look how that played out for you. You beat Louisiana, got your butt kicked by Arkansas. You switched to Casey Thompson, you annihilate Rice, and now you've annihilated a conference opponent because you switched to Casey Thompson. He was the right man for the job, and obviously that is showing in Austin right now. Longhorns beat the Red Raiders 70-35. Auburn survived Georgia State. 27-point favorites, the Tigers were trailing late in the fourth quarter before ending up winning by 10. Auburn nearly beat Penn State last week in Happy Valley, only managed to beat the Panthers by 10. Again, that just shows how crazy this season is and why you can't take any opponent for granted. So Auburn takes down Georgia State, and Georgia Tech takes down number 21 North Carolina 45-22. Remember when we all thought North Carolina could be was the coastal favorite? They could be a playoff dark horse with that offense. Forget all of it. They're now out of the rankings. They're not contending for a playoff, and they might not even win their division, a division that seems to be right now Virginia Tech's to lose. Huge win for the Yellow Jackets. North Carolina, major disappointment in 2021. Let's get into the big storylines, guys, the big games. Let's start in Chicago with one of the earlier games. Number 12, Notre Dame, destroying number 18, Wisconsin, 41-13. They didn't just beat Wisconsin, they annihilated Wisconsin. And obviously, if you watched the game, you realize that towards the end of the game, with those 2 extra pick sixes, it made the game look a little bit worse than it really was. Despite that, Notre Dame clearly was the better team, and I'm actually kind of glad they ran up in Wisconsin. It made it look a lot better, 100%. You look at Notre Dame, guys, they trailed Wisconsin 13-10 in the fourth quarter. They were down 3 in the fourth quarter. They led just 24-13 with 9:34 left. But then they had 2 pick sixes in the final 2:15. That sealed the deal, made it look a lot worse than it really was. But again, Notre Dame, I really thought was the better team. We picked Wisconsin, but after watching that game, very evident to me, obviously, the Fighting Irish were better. Brian Kelly became the winningest head coach in Notre Dame football history, better than Lou Holtz, better than Newt Rockne. The winningest head coach in Notre Dame football history. What an accomplishment for Brian Kelly, and what a way to do it in Chicago with College Game Day against a top 20 team in blowout fashion. You couldn't have asked for anything better. Factor in that Jack Cohn, the quarterback for Notre Dame, threw for 158 yards and a touchdown against his former team. Factor in that Notre Dame's defense forced 5 turnovers, again, 2 of those resulting in pick sixes. This Fighting Irish team, guys, looked legit. They looked for real. Are they going to make the playoff? We don't know, but they are 4-0. They are back in the top 10. They have a major, huge top 10 matchup in South Bend next week against Cincinnati. Huge playoff implications for both teams in that game. But Notre Dame, a huge win over Wisconsin, a well-deserved win over Wisconsin. The Fighting Irish are for real. The Badgers, again, failing to live up to their lofty expectations. How about we move down to Arlington? And I just want to say, how about them Hogs? How about Arkansas? 4-0 for the first time since 2003. First time in 18 years that the Razorbacks are 4-0. They took down number 7 Texas A&M 20-10 in Jerry's World down at Cowboy Stadium. And again, guys, if you weren't buying into the Arkansas hype, if you weren't buying into what Sam Pittman was selling at Arkansas, you should now. You should now. If you didn't do it after annihilation of Texas in week 2, you need to now after a double-digit victory over a solid Texas A&M team. And say what you want. Oh, A&M was without Zach Calzada or was without Haynes King. They had to start Zach Calzada, their backup quarterback. Say what you want about that. Arkansas fans, they don't want to hear it because they shouldn't have to hear it because this Razorbacks team is legit. Texas A&M, hey, you don't have any excuse for your defense, do you? Your defense hadn't allowed a passing touchdown all year, but allowed 212 passing yards and 2 touchdowns to KJ Jefferson in Arkansas, including an 85-yard touchdown to Traylon Burks, including a 48-yard pass to A.J. Green, where the Aggies, you might want to consider working on your tackling. Might want to learn how to wrap up. Arkansas played sound, fundamental football. They jumped out to a 17-0 lead and never looked back. The Aggies did not. They dug themselves in a hole deep hole early, and they were unable to dig themselves out of it. Arkansas, again, it got a little sketchy there for the Razorbacks when they only led 17-10 in the fourth quarter, but they got one interception. Ball was tipped, intercepted the ball, put them in solid field position to get one more field goal to put them up 10, and once the Hogs got up by double digits again, got up by 2 possessions, they knew they had the game in the bag. An unbelievable defensive performance from Arkansas. Barry Odom doing phenomenal things, and factor this in for the Hogs as well. KJ Jefferson played lights-out football. Everybody wondered, could he win the game through the air? He did that. The rushing game was great too, but he won it through the air. KJ Jefferson gets hurt. Their backup quarterback, Malik Hornsby, comes in. And he attempted, 2 passes in that game? Arkansas continued to do what they did best. They ran the ball, picked up a few first downs, never scored with Hornsby. They got the field goal, obviously, but never scored with him physically. But did just enough with their backup quarterback as well to get the Hogs the win. So say what you want about A&M and what their excuses. The Hogs could have had some excuses too. They were simply the better team. Texas A&M simply overrated after unimpressive victories over Colorado and Kent State, guys like that, New Mexico. They fell to Arkansas, and the Razorbacks might be the biggest threat to Alabama in the SEC West. I guarantee no one thought they were going to be saying that just a few months ago. How about another big upset, still staying in the state of Texas? How about Baylor over number 14 Iowa State? Sick of Bears, am I right? 31-29 over the Cyclones. And listen to this. If you look at the numbers, if you look at the box score, you're going to say, how in the world did Baylor win this game? The Bears were outgained by Iowa State 479 yards to 282 yards. But Tristan Ebner made the play of the game, a 98-yard kickoff return, put Baylor up by 12 again. Jerry Bohannon played lights-out football, 15 for 20, 164 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, plus a rushing touchdown. He is working wonders for Dave Aranda in this Baylor offense. And, of course, as we all know, at the end of the game, Baylor got that key 2-point conversion stop. Iowa State had a chance to tie it, but the Bears intercepting that in the end zone. 24 seconds left in the game. Recovered the onside. Baylor ended up winning the football game, 31-29. The Bears are now ranked. The Bears might be the biggest threat to Oklahoma in the Big 12 now. Not Iowa State, not Texas, maybe Baylor. Again, no one thought they'd be saying that. The offense is finally coming together. We knew the defense was going to be solid with Aranda being a solid defensive mind, all that returning talent coming back. Baylor is the real deal, and they'll have a chance to prove that even more with a road game at Oklahoma State this Saturday. And then, of course, playing West Virginia and BYU in the weeks after. That's a great opportunity for Baylor to boost that resume and to continue to show that, hey, we're not just Big 12 title contenders, but we should be taken nationally. We might be getting 2019 flashbacks from Baylor, a year where no one thought the Bears would do much, and they were just one game away from making the college football playoff. Speaking of college football playoff, that is the one thing that Clemson will not be getting this year. Clemson has been eliminated from the playoff before October has even started. Again, had you told anybody that about a month ago, before the season started, they would have laughed at you. Clemson has 2 losses now, one to Georgia and just this Saturday falling to the North Carolina State Wolfpack. Fell to them 27-21 in double overtime. And I will say this, if you were an NC State fan, you were probably getting deja vu from a few years ago. 2015, 2016, had your chance to win the game, field goal right down the middle, and they missed it. North Carolina State had a chance to win the game in regulation. 39 yards right down the middle. You win that, you win. You upset Clemson. It's over. A few years ago, they had a chance to do that in Death Valley, and they missed both. Back in Death Valley, NC State went to overtime and lost. This time, Dave Doeren didn't allow history to repeat itself. This defense held strong. Devin Leary played lights-out football, 238 yards and 4 touchdowns against this Clemson defense. NC State's defense held Clemson's offense, which we knew was their cancer, which we knew was the thing that was holding them back, held them to just 214 yards on the day. NC State dominated the time of possession, held the ball for 41 minutes and 48 seconds, held it for nearly 3/4, 75% of the game. This was a dominant performance from left to right. They didn't destroy Clemson by any means. No, it went to double overtime. But NC State played great football, exploited Clemson big time. The Wolfpack now control their own destiny in the ACC Atlantic. They are now the favorite to win that division. Do I think they can run the table and go undefeated? No, I don't. But Clemson is going to need some help from them and others if they want to sneak back into the ACC championship game. And even if they do, they are not going to the playoff. So a team that had been a consistent, perennial college football playoff contender, everybody had them pegged as one this year, will not. be in it this year, and it's not even October. That is how crazy this football season is, guys. NC State taking down the 9th-ranked team in the country and shaking up the college football world. Two more games we want to talk about, both out of the Big 12. Oklahoma State taking down number 25, Kansas State, 31-20. We felt very confident that the Cowboys would defeat the Wildcats in Stillwater. And I will say the major reason they did that was because of the play of Spencer Sanders. We said, hey, look, we know Kansas State can run the ball. We know Oklahoma State can run the ball. Which quarterback steps up and makes the biggest plays through the air? Because both quarterback plays so far have been lackluster. Spencer Sanders stepped up and won the game through the air. 344 passing yards, 2 touchdowns on the day. The Cowboys outgained Kansas State 481-260. Oklahoma State is now 4-0 on the year. They are absolutely a key threat to Oklahoma in the Big 12. And that winner of the Baylor-Oklahoma State game this coming Saturday could determine who the second best team in the Big 12 is, and will be huge in determining maybe who makes that Big 12 championship come December. So a huge game for the Cowboys and the Bears coming up on Saturday, but a huge performance from Mike Gundy and his Cowboys, taking down a good Chris Kleiman Kansas State squad who had just cracked the rankings and has now fallen just back out. And then finally, sticking in the Big 12, last thing we want to say, Oklahoma, we keep telling everybody, hey, look, you're the top team in the Big 12 because ranking-wise, and I genuinely believe talent-wise, you are. But you're not playing like it. And you keep playing the way you're playing, you're not going to win the Big 12, and you're not going to make the playoff. The Sooners barely survived West Virginia in Norman 16-13 this week. Spencer Rattler was booed by his own fans. The fans were asking and wanting Spencer Rattler, a Heisman favorite for many, to get benched in this game against West Virginia. Think about that. Oklahoma has looked unimpressive against Tulane. They looked unimpressive against Nebraska last week. They looked unimpressive against West Virginia, needing a game-winning field goal as time expired to win this game over the Mountaineers. They've looked so unimpressive, they don't look like a top 4 team. The offense has not been gelling and been as electric as we thought they would be, and so defense certainly has not either. Oklahoma is right now a top 5 team according to the AP poll. They are the Big 12 favorite, and I would keep them as that until someone takes them down. But I will say someone will take them down. This Oklahoma team does not look good. I grouped Oklahoma, Clemson, and Ohio State into a group last week and said, yeah, these are top 10 teams at the time being, but they certainly don't look like it. They're not playing like it. And the Sooners are not playing like it. And with a road game at Kansas State coming up, we all know how difficult that is for them. They've lost to Kansas State the last few years. They're, of course, playing an electric Texas offense coming up. Can't rule out Iowa State as bad as they've been. Can't rule out a game against them. Can't rule out TCU. There's somebody on this Big 12 slate that will take down the Sooners. And it will shake up the college football world. And it will shake up the college football playoff race. The Sooners have to fix it. Lincoln Riley has to figure something out. Otherwise, they will find themselves sitting at home in the Big 12. Maybe just like the ACC, will find themselves sitting out of the college football playoff come December. I know we're a long ways away from that, but the Sooners barely survived West Virginia at home. It was not impressive. And they've got to figure something out if they want to keep their playoff hopes alive. So guys, there you have it. Week 4 of college football. We're about a third of the way through this season, give or take. Third of the way through the games for most teams. And it has been one of the wildest college football seasons I have ever seen in my life. From the amount of upsets we have seen, from the amount of storylines we have seen, from the near upsets we have seen, none of it makes any sense. And again, we love every second of it because that's what makes this sport so great. That's what makes it fun for us. That's what makes it fun for you, the fans. This is what college football is all about. The unpredictability, the uncertainty, the chaos. And I can promise you we're going to have so much more of that over the following weeks, over the following months. Week 5 is now underway, guys. We have content coming out for you all week long, getting you prepped for it. Our Gridiron Expert rankings coming out on Monday, predictions on Tuesday, game of the week Wednesday through Friday, and then boom, college football Saturday is upon us again. And if we're lucky, it's going to be even better than what we've already experienced these last 4 weeks. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Check out everything down in the description below as well. Again, sign up for those expert picks if you have not already. We've got some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the entire country for one of the lowest prices in the entire country. They've been beating out 80% of the national analysts for the last 3 years, and we will do that again now in 2021. It is the Gridiron Expert guarantee. So make sure to go sign up for those today so you don't miss out on any of that content. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.